Game. Blouses.
Gotta fix my hair. All right, sorry about that. What is up, y'all? We are done with week 3. Would you look at that? We're already flying, man. This is already a pretty eventful season. We're gonna keep it light today. Keep it moving. Go real quick. Just want to say a couple things. Let me bring my chair up. Damn, my fat ass is weighing this baby down. Yeah, we had a couple really close ones, guys. It was very, very close. We are going to pull up some of the stats later on, but I will tell you right now, we got some things to talk about. We got some standings changes. Somebody's going on a heater. Somebody's on a little bit of a skid, and we got some very important matchups going into week number 4 that we will talk about, predictions and all of the like. Let's get into some of the NBA news around the league that took place within week 3. Or close enough, or after our last week 2 episode. Jamal Murray, Tyler Herro, Cam Thomas, all out for significant periods of time. I say significant because it is early in the season where you want to stack up as many wins as possible, and right now it doesn't look like those fantasy managers are very happy about that. Jamal Murray is out for the remainder of November. Tyler Herro will be out a couple weeks with a grade 2 sprain. They're going to reevaluate him after 2. And then Cam Thomas has an ankle injury. They didn't specify the grade of the sprain or sprain. So we'll see. I think Cam might be the one that comes back first, but Jamal, I don't like hamstring injuries. It's pretty nagging, and it just seems like it's something in basketball specifically that doesn't really go away. Magic fans know Gary Harris dealing with one right now. Will we ever see him again? Not sure, but continuing on. Another injury news, man. Wild shit. Kelly Oubre got hit by a fucking car walking around Philadelphia on Friday night, I think, or Saturday night. And scary stuff, man. It's you never want to see that happen. You never want to. It gave me big Chandler Parsons vibes. So hopefully, Kelly Oubre gives Morgan and Morgan a call for the people. So that's a true story, by the way. You can look that up. Chandler Parsons did use them. Yeah, I hope he's okay. He's luckily he escaped with I believe a fractured rib and then other minor injuries that would constitute getting hit by a car. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And I'm glad he's okay. I'm glad he's out. I'm glad that Philly got that guy back and he's not facing any severe. As of for now, not facing any severe long-term or potentially season-ending injuries. They do need him. The Philly is going to need him to be, a defensive and offensive at times spark plug. Potentially coming off the bench when he comes back. I'm sure they're going to re-implement him into the system with a little bit of a restriction. See how he's feeling. Not sure about the timeline with that. With stuff with ribs, you kind of just got to chill. So there's not really a cast you can throw on. And do it. You just kind of have to relax and let it do its work. As far as I know, I'm no doctor, but that's what I've heard. A couple bruised ribs about a year ago. That was a lot of fun. Some old lady hit me with her car. I was in a vehicle though, and I also wasn't 6'8" and a solid 220 or whatever Kelly Oubre is. I would imagine world class athlete. So that he had that going for him for sure. Speaking of the Sixers, Maxey had his first 50 piece this week, and I think we're starting to see the emergence of potentially a top 5 guard in the East, and maybe one of the top young players in the world right now. He just is incredible. I love watching him play. I had him on my team last year. He clutched up for me and got me over the hump in the semifinals against Schmerkebeu. Schmerkebeu. I love it. Got the soundbite back, everybody. Crisis averted. So Maxey is just one of those guys, man. He's going to step up now that Harden's out of the way, and unfortunately Kelly Oubre is out of the lineup. That'll significantly spike his usage. Joel Embiid still dominating. Tobias Harris still a very, very solid third option on this team. So Philly's going to be a tough team to beat. Had a good one against Boston the other night, and eventually, they pulled it out, but it's Philly is just tough. They're tough as nails right now, and I hate to say it because they're just one of those teams that we just can never beat and we can never figure out. So we, meaning the Magic, sorry. Clippers are still defeated with James Harden on their team. They just lost their 5th straight with Harden as a member of the Los Angeles Clippers. He's back home. Everybody was like, he's going to be fine. He's going to be comfortable. Everybody's going to be all right. Fleeced and Feathered is feeling good about it. He's definitely getting minutes. Now, this is a case of, do you want him as a fantasy player? Yes. Do you want him on your team right now? No. So Fleeced is very lucky right now that he is playing and he doesn't have to deal with him on a personal level. That's a good addition for Fleeced and Feathered, which, by the way, we're going to get into that very scary team right now. So a lot of things to say about the first 10 games. There's some surprises. There's some moments. A lot of the teams at the top of their conferences and divisions right now are kind of like, well, yeah, of course. But yeah, Houston is definitely the biggest surprise for me. I think they won 6 in a row, and Dylan Brooks is having a crazy year. Ni hao. He heard the shit talk and he responded. So that's pretty much it. I'm just going to do some quick league news. I didn't want to get too far into it, but the one thing I want to end on is that Anthony Edwards he just won Western Conference Player of the Week. I know he's not top 10, Dom. I know, but what I'm saying is this guy's he's a dark horse MVP vote for me this year. He is going to have a hell of a season. He's going to have a hell of a career, and I think it's going to stack up to a lot of the greats that are in the league right now, and a lot of the people that a lot of the players that fans and writers and analysts all around the world consider to be generational talent. I think Anthony Edwards is. I think he is one of the key pieces to the future of the NBA, and we gotta watch what he's going to do, because not only can he absolutely devastatingly hit threes and mid range, post fadeaway, looking like Kobe and Mike out there in pivotal moments of games that just takes the wind out of your sails. Not only can he do that, but he is going to be in your fucking face with defense. He is so fun to watch on the perimeter, and they're hot. The T-Wolves are hot right now. They had a big one against Boston. Jason Tatum tries to get the ISO on Ant with Ant having 5 fouls and hoping he was going to pick one up, and he didn't. He poked that ball out and forced a jump ball and then took over in overtime. So really, really fun to watch. He's an amazing talent. He can dunk one on your head. He can hit you. He can beat you deep from 3. He's got a pretty solid mid-range little post-fade game. We saw that in the Olympics. We see it now. He likes that right wing mid-range, and this is going to be a fun team to watch. Cat stays healthy. Rudy still does Rudy things and protects the rim and cleans up the garbage. Mike Conley still, pushes enough of the pace to where they're comfortable enough to run. And I think we got an interesting team here that could potentially be a very tough matchup for the Golden States and the Denvers of the West that are probably going to be, those guys are probably going to be at the top. Phoenix, I'm still kind of iffy about. Bradley Beal played his first game last week, and it was it's all right. He's working his way into the system, so we'll see what happens. But D-Book is still out, which means that KD is still probably going to be the primary option on that team for now. Again, a very confusing team, but a lot to be excited about. If you're an NBA fan, you want to see these guys play together, but we're still waiting. So let's get it together, Phoenix. All right, we're going to be right back with our matchups of the week, our blowout of the week, our standings, our predictions, and our power rankings. Here we go. Okay, let's go ahead and get into the matchups this week. Curry on, my wayward son. That is me, the commish, yours truly. I took Randy 5-4 this week. Randy's still looking for his first win. Don't go Jason Waterfalls. A tough win. I mean, insane Sunday. Colby ended up losing by a very slim margin. We'll get into that in just a second. This was the blowout of the week. Unfortunately, Luka Doncic he was plagued by some resting that took place on Sunday that did not favor him, and Fleeced ended up just dominating. The Fleeced and I, the commish, are the only 2 undefeated teams in the league left. I don't think that's going to be the case for me next week, but we will see. First team all rookie and long neck lifters. Here we go. We have the stat adjustment 5, 3, and 1. Jack ended up taking that. So I was expecting that. We will talk about that in a second. And Smokey Boo took the dub against Tyrese's Pieces. He's still looking for his first official win of the year, sitting with 0-2-1 with that tie there. And that's what it looked like this week. Now let's get into the stat lines of these here. Okay, let's take a look here. As you can see, Randy and I did not. We weren't necessarily the most flashy team this week. Very very low in our assist numbers stacked up to the rest of the league. Me, not by much, but it's still significantly lower than I would like it to be. Free throw percentage, neither of us really shot that great. So this was kind of a not so great matchup. But I ended up taking him in field goal percentage, which was kind of the closest thing going into Sunday. I had a few that I needed to just hold on to, and with Anthony Davis grabbing, Randy had the field goal percentage. I assist. I'm looking at this backwards. I have, I just needed Anthony Davis to not score 116 points and get 10 more assists than he did. But yeah, rebounds were tough for me. Blocks was a surprise. I normally am at the top of blocks. I let go of Brook Lopez this week because he just hasn't really been doing much else other than that. And I already have guys that are dragging me down with low minutes and minimal category, I guess, contributions. So I just had to let him go. But yeah, 675 points for me. Not bad, not great, but I'd like to get into that 700 slot again, like I was consistently last year. Don't go Jason Waterfalls and Tingus Pingus. Let's hit it. Damn it. I need a producer. Motherfucker. Don't go Jason Waterfalls. And who the fuck is Tingus Pingus? Was the matchup of the week. This was separated by one rebound. And man, Colby, I'm not going to give you blew it. It just happens. This is not a reflection of this guy as a manager. He normally doesn't lose this often this early in the season. So 2 losses for Tingus Pingus is not something that I would really take much stock in. There's a lot of things to be said about his team, his managerial skills. There's just a couple things, and free throws are separated by less than 1% as well. Don't go Jason Waterfall sitting at 81.2%, call it. And Tingus Pingus separated. He was about 81.5. So very close here. This was the matchup of the week, tied with another one that we'll get into in a second. But yeah, very, very close here. Going into it next, let's look at our next matchup here. We got Luka Doncic and Fleeced and Feathered. This was the blowout of the week, just sheerly on a numbers standpoint. And Lincoln cracked 250 on the rebounds, 130 in assists, 728 in points. That was our league high this week in points, I believe. Yes. Fleeced and Feather is going to be a very dangerous team. This is a team that nobody wants to see right now, and he's fully healthy. And I said at the beginning of the year, this is possibly the most dangerous team if everything goes well. So, considering that Kyrie stays healthy and out of the news, and that Paul George doesn't decide to take a bunch of games off, and James Harden doesn't decide to lay an egg, I think we're going to be looking at a pretty deadly team going forward. So just something to look out for. We'll get into that in the power rankings that we're going to go over here in just a second. First team all-rookie against the Long Neck Lifters. Big beer guy over here. He took the win. Now, originally, when I did this episode the first time, I forgot to pipe in the correct audio, which I really hope I'm using right now. I am. Just had to double check. Had a panic attack. Okay, so Jack had a stat correction. He got credited for a block, so he ended up actually winning this 5-3-1, whereas he only lost his 5-4. So there was a stat correction. There was a block added. I'm not sure who was added to. I don't want to click off this screen, but I would assume it's Daniel Gafford. This was separated by 1 turnover and a tie in blocks, so could have swung either way. Unfortunately, Jake got the short end of the stick this week, but again, his team is going to get better when John Morant comes back. His team is very young, and they're going to figure it out. So I think he's going to be fine. I think Jack's team is trending in the right direction. And not a team that I would have beat last week had he had a full, healthy Brandon Ingram, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Donovan Mitchell. So something to look out for. Those two teams, to me, Fleeced and Feathered and Long Neck Lifters, the brothers, are very, very difficult to beat right now. And then Tyrese's Pieces, unfortunately, did not come out with a win this week, as we talked about earlier. Had a rough week in just certain matchups were real rough. 90 rebounds away, 40 assists away, and 96 points away. So just something to look at for next week. I'm looking ahead already. He already looks like he's doing pretty well this week in this week's matchup. So Brian's team is soaring, and Tyrese's Pieces now with Maxey in full gear. I would expect that he's gonna steal some wins here for a minute. So let's also take a look at our standings. We will be right back. Okay, let's take a look at these standings here. As you can see, Fleeced and Feathered, Curry on my wayward son. That is me, the commissioner here. We're both sitting at 3-0. Pretty solid start. I would say that I'm not really convinced that my team is any good right now. I've had a very lucky stretch with opposing teams' injuries, and just my guys performing minimally and below average, in my opinion, and also just having a decent schedule. I really haven't gotten any dominant performances from guys outside of my top two, so I'm waiting for that to happen. So we will see. We will see. Hopefully Zach LaVine finds a happy home and he can excel and play a little bit better. Hopefully Jaren Jackson starts shooting the ball better, because that's making me nervous. Look at this. All the way up at number 3, we have, you guessed it, third time's a charm. Smacky Boo. And he said, "Excuse me, I'm in third now, bitch." Good job there, buddy. That's a nice jump after starting 0-1 and being dead last in the power rankings, which mean nothing. Brian is, Smoking a Bowl is, he's looking good. Don't Go Jason Waterfalls also. Excuse me. Yeah, after a tough start, he strung together, or a tough week last week. Excuse me. He strung together a. Wait. Did he? He won last week. Sorry. What am I talking about? I apologize. Yeah, he's doing well. I believe he's on a 2-game heater. Am I right on that? Games back one. God damn it! Doesn't show me. Shows me on the app. Okay. We'll just say for lack of preparation that Jesse's won 2 in a row. I believe he has, but I don't know for sure. Jack is off the schneid after losing to me last week. He got another win, 2-1. He's sitting at that's a Long Neck Lifter, excuse me. And we got two ties, a tie for 8th, I guess, 8th or 9th, whatever you want to call it, at 0-2-1. First team all rookie. Randy's still looking for the first win of the week. Dom's sliding a little bit. Tingus Pingus sliding a little bit, but I don't think that this is something that is going to be regular. And we have 6 teams that make the playoffs, so and there's plenty of time. I changed the schedule this year, so we don't have to worry about people resting down the stretch. So we will see how that goes. But that's what the standings are looking like right now. And let's get into week number 4. Okay, we're going to get into this real quick. We're going to look and see who's playing well so far. This is a late in the week episode already, so we have a few games already under our belt. So this is not going to be a zeros across the board matchup. This is where the teams currently stand as of 12:49 on Wednesday, November 15th. So just to timestamp it and let you guys know what we're looking at here. But this is already after Monday and Tuesday have happened. So I'm going to make my predictions according to what I think it would have been at 0-0, not by what I see right now. Okay, here we go. Let's share this screen and take a look at the week 4 matchups. Right now, I am playing against Don't Go Jason Waterfalls. I won't hit you with the soundbite. I was going to do it, but we're not going to do that. I'm going to pick. Honestly, I don't really like my team right now. I'm going to pick Jason Waterfalls, and I think it's because he has a couple of guys that are really tough to kind of, I guess, counteract in the fantasy world. So we will see with that. But I'm going to pick against myself this week, and unfortunately, Jesse's team's rolling, so I think we're going. So Tingus Pingus and Luka Doncic. This is the battle of the Slippies. This is a couple guys with not very good records to start. Again, it's very early, so don't take it with take it with a grain of salt, as they say. It's still very early. I mean, I am going to go Tingus Pingus in this. I just think, I think Colby being that close twice in a row, I don't think it's going to happen a third time. So I am going to pick him. Randy Bobanderson, first team all rookie. Both guys looking for their first official win of the week. I am going to go Randy here. I know it says 7-2, and I know that's the easy pick, but I am going to pick him because he had a good week against me last week. Jake had a good week against Jack last week too. However, I think Randy's team is hungry for that first win. I'm going to pick Randy here. Fleeced and Feathered and Tyrese's Pieces. Now, all signs point to this being the blowout of the week. However, Imran is having a pretty good start to this week, and I don't know. I'm going to throw a little love to my boy here and say that he's gonna sneak this win out. Now, this might not be a smart pick. Fleeced might win it by a lot, but I don't know. I like what I'm seeing from Tyrese's Pieces here. So maybe we sneak out a win. We'll see. And then last but not least, we have the Long Neck Lifters against Smoking a Bowl. This is a good positional early in the standings matchup. I am going to go Brian here. Brian's team is on a roll. Nikola Jokic is playing, I mean, unbelievable basketball as always. And I'm going to go with him this week, being that he is he's climbing in those power rankings. So look out. I think that this is a team not to be trifled with, as they would say. So that's going to be a good matchup too. Looking forward to that one. So good luck to everybody this week. I hope I'm not entirely wrong on everything. Now let's get into the power rankings. So again, here's the disclaimer for the power rankings. They mean nothing. This is just for me. I understand that your matchup would have been different and your scores would have been different depending on who you were playing. I know, I'm a fucking dork. Fuck off. That's all. Okay. These mean nothing, but here are the power rankings. We're going to start at 10 and work our way up to number 1. We're going to do it backwards. I think we did it 1 to 10 last week. So that's not really how you should do it. So number 10, tied for last. We'll call it 9th. Call it T9. Throwback to the old texting game. T9. We have Tyrese's Pieces at number 10, coming in at 1.83 wins per week. I don't think this is going to stay the same for a while. I think his team's going to pick it up. It might be one of those teams that is it's a tough out coming down the stretch. So we'll see. I don't have anything fully negative to say about any teams right now because it is so early. So I think barring any injury, I think everybody still has a fairly decent chance to make something happen. So we'll see. Also at T9, we have Randy Bobanders, who took the L against me last week, also sitting at 1.83 wins per week, a stat that I completely made up. And again, both of those guys looking for their first official win, as is our 8th place in the power rankings, which is first team all rookie, sitting at 2.5 wins per week. Jake had a good week last week against Jack, even though he did lose. There was a lot of promise there. There's a lot of things to be said about his team, and I think that if he holds on to a string a couple wins together before John Morant comes back, and he could be a team to look out for. I mean, we had it happen a couple years ago where everybody counted him out, and then Joel Embiid came back and eventually took him all the way to the finals. So it's Jake's first team all rookies manager. Jake is not a guy you want to count out fully. So just keep an eye on that. And then all right, up next we got number 7. Number 7 we have Shmokebeu at 2.67 or 2 2/3 for the math heads out there. 2 2/3 wins per week. Brian's on a roll. He's got two in a row under his belt. I think this is going to be a good week for him. I think he is going to win, and we'll see what happens. He's going to keep climbing the ladder, maybe tied with me at the end of this week. I think both he and I will be 3-1 by the end of this week. I think. I'm not really psyched about my team right now, but we'll see. Number 6, almost cracking the top 5. We have Luka Doncic, aka Team Hibachi, and he is doing much better than a couple weeks ago. So I'll say he's cooking. That's a little sizzle. It's a little grill sizzle. Yeah, he's got a studly team. I mean, it's Luka, Bron, Tingus Pingus on his team. So Tingus Pingus doesn't have Kristaps Porzingis, just so everybody's aware. It's just he's a Knick fan and thought it was funny, which I love. I love the dedication. But yeah, Luka Doncic, a team that is going to be tough to beat. He pays attention, he sets his lineups, and he's got a pretty good nose for that free agency wire. So we'll see the waiver wire. Excuse me. So we'll see what happens with that. Again, top five still the same. The top five is the same in terms of who's in it, but the placement is a little bit different. So we're going to get into that right now. Number 5 is my boys. Don't go Jason Waterfalls, my favorite team name in the league, playing against me this week. I think he is going to take the win. He's sitting at 4.5 wins per week, and that's a significant win last week. So that's good. Knocking off Colby is always fun this early in the season because he's not one of those guys that loses often. So got to take what you can get. All right, number 4. Speaking of which, Tingus Pingus, sitting at 5 wins per week. He's still in the top 4. He's still a solid team. You take away those 2 losses. I mean, he's sitting at 1 and 2, in still putting up good stats, enough to beat 5 teams per week. So just something to look at as the average. Number 2, tied for 2, is Long Neck Lifters. At 7.3 wins per week, which, again, he is going to be a tough team to beat if he stays healthy. Injuries are always a problem for everybody's team, but it always seems like Jack has an injury bug that happens in the pivotal moments beginning moments of the season as well. So see what happens with that. But he's sitting at 7.3 wins a week, as well as my team, the Commissioner, Curry on My Wayward Son, at 7.3 wins per week as well, which is totally made up. It's a stat that I just look at all of our cumulative stats throughout the week, and I match it up against everybody else's, and I say, that's who you would have beaten, boom, 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 go down the list, and I average it out. So I'm sitting at 7.3. As you recall from last week, I was sitting at 9 teams per week, so I had not mathematically accumulated a loss in these power rankings until this week. I did not have a good week this week, was not psyched about my team, so just something to look out for. I'm not trending in the right direction, so hoping that my team can get it together and I can maybe snag a guy that ends up being the difference maker in my run this year, my title defense. So we'll see. And then number 1, no shock here, that's Fleeced and Feathered. He's fleecing and feathering all over the fucking place. He would have beat the whole league last week. Anybody that matched up against him was not taking a win, not even close in some. And he's sitting at 7.6 wins per week. So definitely something to look out for. He is a dangerous team, and he will be on that waiver wire. He will be setting his lineups. He will be paying attention. So just know, this is to Tyrese's pieces this week. Just know this win is going to be tough, but I believe in you. I think you can do it. I think you had a good start. You're hanging in there. But let's see if we can finish this thing off. All right. But yeah, fleeced and feathered is going to be. This is a tough team to beat, dude. Tough. So I mean, Joel and Kat. I mean, good lord, good luck with that. And Paul George, Kyrie, and James Harden. I mean, it's the starting 5 that looks like 5 All-Stars out there if they're going to play. So just be mindful of that going into this and make sure you are ready for war when you play against this team. So, all right, I think that's going to do it for us. We went over a lot, did a little NBA news, little standings, predictions, matchup of the week, blowout of the week, and our dreaded power rankings. So, sorry if you're not as high as you wanted to be, but hey, there's still time to change it. We got 17 weeks left before the playoffs begin. Just so you know, our playoffs do begin on mid-March, so just look out for that. Mid-March is when we're looking for it. So we have a lot of stuff to cover. We have a lot of things to get into, and it's going to be a fun season, guys. So thank you very much. Make sure you set those lineups, use all those acquisitions, and good luck to you this week. We'll see you next time.
Gang. Blouses.